Hello, everyone. Welcome and good day. I'm Kavitha Bagilesh, Assistant Professor from the Faculty of Management at SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Ramapuram campus. I handle courses in finance and business analytics. Now, before we begin today's session, let me be very clear with this. If you're expecting heavy coding or complex mathematics today, relax. That is not today's agenda. Today is about understanding an idea that is quietly shaping how businesses think, decide, and compete. And honestly, once you see it clearly, you'll start noticing it everywhere. Let me start with a very simple question. How many of you use music apps regularly? Almost everyone, right? Now think about this. When you first installed the app, it knew absolutely nothing about you. And yet, a few days later, it starts playing songs that makes you think, okay, this is getting a little too accurate. That experience, my friends, slightly impressive, slightly scary, is where our story begins. Take Spotify, for example. You never sit and explain your taste to Spotify. You don't say, I like motivational songs when I work and sad songs only on Sunday evenings. You don't give instructions, you just listen, you skip, you repeat, and quietly the system is watching, not judging, just learning. And over time, it gets better. That improvement is not magic, that improvement is machine learning. At its core, machine learning simply means that a system learns from data and improves its decision over time. That's it. No mystery, no buzzwords. So, machine learning simply means that a system learns from data and improves its decisions over time, right? Now, if you think about it, this is exactly how humans learn too. We don't wake up one day knowing everything, right? We observe, we make mistakes, sometimes very embarrassing mistakes. We learn from them, and slowly we improve. Machine learning systems do the same thing, except that they learn much faster and they don't take things personally. Earlier computer systems worked very differently. They followed rules, very strict rules. Human had to tell them exactly what to do in every single situation. But businesses don't work like that, right? Do they? No. So, customers change their minds, markets behave unpredictably. What worked last year suddenly stops working this year, and it might not even be relevant the next year. So, instead of writing endless rules, organizations started doing something smarter. They said, let's give the system the past data and let it figure out patterns on its own. Come on. And that shift from rule based systems to learning based systems is what machine learning is all about. Now, let me pause here and ask, why should management students care about this? Because today, managers are not short of data. If anything, they're actually overloaded with it, right? Sales numbers, customer behavior, financial reports, operational metrics, data is everywhere. The real challenge is not collecting data. The real challenge is deciding what to do with the data, right? Machine learning helps turn data into insights and insights into actions. Let me give you another everyday example. Think about fitness trackers or smartwatches. Initially, they just show numbers. The steps walked, hours slept, heart rate, nothing exciting, right? But after a while, they start commenting on your life. They tell you things like, your activity is reduced this week, my friend, or your sleep pattern is no less than usual. Sometimes they make you feel slightly guilty, but that's a different discussion. What's happening here is learning. The system compares your current behavior with your past behavior. It identifies patterns, it notices deviations, and then gives suggestions. Again, this is machine learning, learning from experience and responding intelligently. Now, let me explain how this learning actually happens in the most simplest way. Think of training a new employee. You don't throw them into a complex task on day one and hope the best. No, right. First, you show them past cases. You explain what was done and why. That's called training. Yes. Then you give them new tasks and see how they perform. That's testing. Finally, you review their work and give feedback. This is evaluation. Machine learn in exactly the same way. What? Machines learn in exactly the same way. They are trained using historical data where outcomes are already known. Then they are tested on new data. And finally, we evaluate how they perform. If the performance is not good enough, we improve the model. Very logical, very systematic. To make this idea concrete, let me briefly talk about a classic example used when introducing machine learning. There is a small data set called the iris data set. Okay. It contains measurements about flowers like the petal length, petal width, sepal width, and so on. Along with these measurements, the type of the flower is also given. The machine studies many such examples and starts recognizing patterns. Once it has learned, we give it a new flower, data it has never seen before, and we'll ask it to predict what type the flower is. Then we check if this is right or wrong, whatever prediction it has made, whether it is right or wrong. This may sound academic, but this is exact logic is used in business when predicting customer churn, loan defaults, or demand forecasts. Now, being managers, we don't just ask, did the model give an answer? We ask how good the answer was. One simple way to measure this accuracy, how many predictions were correct. Another way is to look at where the model makes mistake. This is very similar to reviewing forecast errors in finance or in operations, right? At this point, I want to be very clear about one thing. Machine learning is powerful, but it is not perfect. It does not think like human. It does not understand emotions, ethics, or context. It only learns from data that is given to it. So, if the data is biased or of poor quality, the decisions will also be flawed. That is why managers remain essential. Machine learning supports decision making, but it does not replace human judgment. In fact, the better the manager understands machine learning, the better they can question its outputs. Today, machine learning is everywhere. Marketing teams use it to personalize campaigns, finance teams use it to detect frauds and assess risks, HR teams use it to analyze employee trends, the operations teams use it to forecast demand. You may not build these models yourself, but you will definitely rely on them. So, the real skill you need as future managers is not coding, it is understanding what machine learning can do, what it can do, and how to use it responsibly. Let me end this session with this thought. In the past, competitive advantage came from having more resources. Today, it increasingly comes from learning faster, from customers, from markets, and from data itself. Machine learning is simply a tool that enables that learning at scale. In the next session, we look at a small practical demonstration to see how this works behind the scenes. For now, just remember this. Machine learning is not about machines becoming smarter than humans. It is about humans making smarter decisions with the help of machines. Thank you for listening. And yes, your music app still knows you better than you think. Bye-bye.